Alright, I know I just dropped a video on the Golden State Warriors and it was about this same exact subject, but we've had a couple more games of data to really lock in and see what's going on. The Warriors have now played in 10 games this season. Steph Curry is averaging over 30, and only one other Warrior has scored 20 points this season, and that was Dario Saric of all people. And now I don't want to be too premature here because we've seen what Wiggins did in the 22 playoffs. Even what Klay did in that playoff run, he had some very big games. But we gotta remember, this team is not trying to be a good team. This team is trying to be a champion. And pretty soon they're gonna have to sit back and ask, can we really be a champion with Wiggins and Klay Thompson as our second and third options? Some would argue that they just did it 2 years ago, but they did have Jordan Poole in that run, and I'll speak about him a little bit more later. But really, can we win with Andrew Wiggins and Klay Thompson as our second options? When you look around the league, Kevin Durant is probably the second best player on the team. If he's not, Devin Booker is the second best player on the team. Anthony Davis or LeBron James is the second best player on the team. Damian Lillard is the second best player on the team. And the Warriors' second best player is Draymond Green right now, probably. If it's not Draymond, it's probably Chris Paul so far this year. So if we go back in recent history and look at the teams that didn't necessarily have that dominant second option, they are all teams that were kind of surprises when they won a championship. Now it's the NBA, so you're never gonna get this crazy random team to win a championship. But if we go back to the 2011 Mavericks, they had the 7th best odds to win a championship that year. The next couple years, the Spurs and Heat were always amongst the favorites to win a championship. And then we get the Golden State Warriors in 2014-15. That team was 8th in championship odds before that season started. And I know when I say that now, we think about Draymond Green and Klay Thompson and all the big moments they had, and they had big moments that year. Obviously, they won the championship. But that year Draymond wasn't even an All-Star that year. That was Klay Thompson's first All-Star season, and if you guys remember, Klay Thompson was pretty bad in that finals that gave us that wonderful meme, and their second best player in that series was finals MVP Andre Iguodala. So if we look at those two teams, 2011 Mavs and 2015 Warriors, those teams were surprises. Now, some might say they were surprised that Steph Curry became an MVP level player, but if you look at the stats, Steph Curry didn't really change that much in his game that year. I think the bigger surprise was, who's the second best player on this team? How can they win a championship when Andre Iguodala is the second best player on this team? How can the Mavericks win a championship when Jason Terry is the second best player on this team? Tyson Chandler, whoever you want to say it was. That was the thinking, and that makes sense. And when you look at this Warriors team, it is going to have to be like a 2011 Dallas Mavericks run, in my opinion. This is going to have to be special. And if Steph Curry does this, if he wins a championship with Andre Iguodala as the second best player, then Andrew Wiggins as a second best player, and then whoever it would be on this current team, that's crazy. That is crazy. But me personally, I don't see it happening. Steph Curry is now 35 years old. He will be 36 by the time the playoffs is here. And I think you're just asking too much of him, similar to what's going on in LA with LeBron right now. But for the Warriors, I think they're going to end up making a trade this year to go out and get a legitimate second option for Steph Curry. And maybe they don't even need a second option. Maybe they just need an explosive player. Maybe they need a Jordan Poole type. I'm not saying they made the wrong decision, but when we go back to the 22 playoffs, they don't get through that without Jordan Poole being able to support Steph Curry on most nights. Yes, Andrew Wiggins was there. Yes, Klay Thompson was there, but Jordan Poole was the other guy that can completely take over the game offensively. And who knows, maybe Chris Paul still has that in his bag, and that would not surprise me at all. Maybe that's the solution. Maybe Chris Paul turns it up to another level when we reach the playoffs, and I could see why the Warriors would believe that. And I know Warriors fans hate relitigating the Jordan Poole situation, but I just want to point this out because I know Jordan Poole is a meme right now. I thought he would be balling out with the Wizards. He's not really doing that right now. I don't really know how his career is going to pan out. I don't want it to be forgotten what he did for them in that playoff run. I'm not even going to mention the first round against the Nuggets because they didn't really need him to do that to win that series. But the second series against the Memphis Grizzlies, the Warriors game, actually let's break it down this way. If you're a Warriors fan, let me know, what do you think the 3 most important games of that playoff run were? In my opinion, they would be Game 1 at Memphis, Game 4 at the Celtics, and Game 6 at the Celtics. And maybe Game 5 at home against the Celtics. Game 1 at Memphis, Jordan Poole was the best player on the court. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson weren't really hitting their shots that game. They needed that support. Draymond Green got ejected at halftime, and Jordan Poole saved their season. They were the road team. They needed to win one game in Memphis, and game 1 was that one game. Game 4 at Boston, we all know the heroics of Steph Curry in that game. No need to talk about that one. But then game 6 at Boston, it's easy to forget that they fell down 12-2 to start that game. They would later go on to what I believe was a 21-0 run, where Jordan Poole had 11 of those 21 points. Now, I'm not here to say they made the wrong decision in moving on from Jordan Poole. I'm not even saying they need that type of player. I'm saying they needed Jordan Poole to win that championship because they needed more scoring around Steph Curry. This year, we're just looking around like, is it going to be Kuminga? Is Clay washed? I don't think Clay is washed. What's going on with Wiggins? All of a sudden, Draymond Green's low-key a sniper? Like, what's going on with this Warriors team? I just don't believe Steph Curry is going to be able to do this again. Win a championship with Andrew Wiggins as your second best player. Or win a championship with this version of Clay, this version of Draymond, or this version of CP3 as your second best player. We all thought Jonathan Kuminga was about to take a step, and maybe he is, but I think if we're talking about maximizing Steph Curry, I know we always have this conversation, 2 timelines, championship window, all of this, but the way Steph Curry's playing right now, his age, maybe you need to go out there and just get him a real second option. I don't know who that is. Is it Brandon Ingram? Is it Pascal Siakam? I don't know. But I don't feel like this team currently constructed is good enough to be a champion. Not only are they small, they can't score. Not only are they small and can't score, they're small, can't score, and they're slow. Like, I just don't see it. Steph Curry is going to have to do so much for this team to win. And like I said earlier, if he does it with this team as currently constructed, either Jonathan Kuminga took a huge leap that I don't see coming in this current situation, or Steph Curry needs to be put in some different type of conversations. Not these top 10. If he wins with this roster, we're talking some top 5 stuff. We might be talking that regardless if he wins another championship, but if he drags this team to a championship, we might need to have some top 5 conversations. Now, maybe I look dumb and Klay Thompson ends up having, a normal Klay Thompson year, 20 points per game, 44%, something crazy from 3. Maybe Klay Thompson goes on a run. Maybe Wiggins bounces back. Maybe Chris Paul turns it up. I just don't see it with this team. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys are thinking about this team. Can Steph Curry really take this roster against a team with Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, LeBron, Anthony Davis, Giannis, Dame? Can Steph Curry really beat those guys with Klay Thompson and Andrew Wiggins as his second and third options? I just don't see it. Maybe you guys do. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm out. Peace.